Here's a figure that should have been in the Buzzworthy Bumblebee, but somehow made it into the main Legacy line itself. It's United Origins Wheeljack. So, Wheeljack, everyone's favorite Autobot scientist, nerd, what have you. He was, I believe, the very first transformation ever shown in the G1 cartoon. And this is Hasbro's first take on doing that. We're starting with the robot mode and going on a camping trip. Are you there, Jackie? Yeah, he's got a whole lot of junk. And not just on his back, it's pretty spread out to his shins as well. And while most of this doesn't feel like Wheeljack, especially Wheeljack as we know him, there are a couple of his signature traits that more than make up for that. And mostly they're all right here, with the head being perfectly Wheeljack, and the chest invoking his Lancer old school car mode. Other than that, it's a whole lot of different. And just to see how different, here's Earthrise Wheeljack. Yep. Quite a bit has changed in the old boy. And just for the sake of it, here's a different Cybertronian Wheeljack, aka the Bumblebee movie Wheeljack. I think I like this aesthetic more. We have to review the toy in front of us. So this gray, while not being super Wheeljack, take it or leave it. It's all right. It's not as good as the pure black, but it's a bit brighter than this guy. So it's like, I don't have any feelings about it. I don't like it. I don't hate it. It's the color they went with. I'm guessing it's screen accurate. The white is very nice and bright, which is immediately better than the other two there. And he doesn't have a lot of green, but it is kind of bright. Nice and translucent there on his chest. He's got a really tiny micro wings sticking out the back of his head. That's cute. His arms feel too small. Well, visually they look too small. Like, they work perfectly fine, but like, it's necessary for how they transform. It's just, I'm used to him being long-armed. Not that long arm. And they're a bit chunky, dealing with they are the front of his vehicle mode, and obviously, what are those? His toes kind of resemble the front of his vehicle mode, a little bit, but those be that some shiny shins, very smooth and also very much built out of many panels laying on top of each other. Like, entire sides and back of a vehicle mode are just folded up origami style right back here. And I kind of think he wears it well. Maybe I'm just so used to this toy sitting right over here that I've just grown accustomed to it and it doesn't look odd anymore. I don't know how it would look to somebody who's just looking at the toy for the first time. If this back kibble wasn't enough, you get more crap to add to him. This hunk of translucent plastic, which kind of gave me nightmares, is designed to be attached on his back. Why? Why Why does he need more crap on his back? Like, does this improve the visual aesthetic? Giving him giant blue wings? I don't know. Inclined to say no. But also, these things are kind of terrible. So they're hinges right here and here. And it would look like they'd be compatible with Earthrise's ramp system. You know, I don't have a good example on hand, but like a lot of Earthrise was interconnectivity, putting things together. These, A, aren't compatible with those, and B, God, are terrifying to take apart. Uh, uh, God. I'll just show you. That's a big stress mark right there. Because they come in the package like this, as just a strip of blue plastic. I honestly thought this was misformed from the factory, and I was like, did I get a piece wrong? What am I looking at the production photos of it and everything and other people's reviews? Like, yeah, it's supposed to look the way I just had it, but like, yeah, taking it off separate is terrifying. Especially when you can't remember how to end up making bigger and bigger stress marks. So this is how it's supposed to go. So that's terrible. Also, he's got a really tiny translucent handgun, painted entirely in silver. It's made out of the same translucent plastic as his chest. And he could plug it in his hand. He could use it, but there's a port dedicated on his shoulder for it to go. Just like the classic. Also, additionally included are these tiny gear-looking things that he could either plug into his gun, or you can plug them into his back as storage. And it'll be hard to see, but this one I cracked. I plugged it into a gun. It wasn't this gun, it was a different gun, I think. And twisted, and you can see a crack right there. The other one didn't do that, so I don't know what went wrong with this one. Plug those into his back for now. You can plug the gun into his back as well. And it will sit however you want. We're going to remove them because they have places to go in the vehicle mode. So articulation-wise, head is on a ball joint. This chest bit doesn't tab in super securely. It's supposed to tab into his nape, but get some good motion out of it. Shoulders, universal. Go all the way out. They do get blocked somewhat going backwards by the backpack. Bicep swivel. Good. Elbow. Kind of makes the arm look even shorter. It just sucks it up right there. You do get a wrist swivel. I don't think Jazz had a wrist swivel. It had a hinge. Waist is unhindered. Hips clash into the backpack, but that's fine. They go out that far. The thigh swivel is right there. it is a mushroom peg, but it's mushroom pegged up into the forward joint as opposed to into the rest of it. The knee goes 90 degrees, kind of friction locks back into place. And the ankle has a ball joint on a stem that's also on a hinge. So you get all kinds of ovulation. Go twist, you can go spinning, you can go wee up and down. All kinds of good ankle motion. So overall, physically, Wheeljacky here is a good toy. It might be a bit hard to get over the backpack, but once you do, I think he's fun to play with. He has quite a few posing options with the accessories. That piece of crap here is hilarious, I guess, in its lamitude. So, the transformation. So we're going to start with the head and rotate it just because I like to rotate it. And we want to fold it down for now and leave it out of the way. Now, yeah, it hinders the waist, so rotate the waist first and then fold the head down. We're going to leave that. We're going to go to his arms, fold out these panels, make sure his wrists are down, and fold them in. Then we're going to want to bring his arm up so this screw is covered like that. Bend it, and then you want to cover it with the rest of his arm. So you want to make it look like that. So up, down, fold, fold in, and cover up. At the same time, we can fold the little ears away so they're inside, and we're going to, wait, is that the right way? Yes. We're going to want to bring his arms together. The teeth are sort of going to interlock, and they're going to look like that. This is essentially making his front bumper. So then bring the backpack up at that angle, and you can untab it, and it's going to peg in to that little bit right there, which means also bringing the arms up at an angle because they're going to plug in to the front as well. Plugged in 3 different places, but that essentially is what you want it to look like. And then unpacking all these shins. So let's start by unfolding that bit, rotate it around, and we're going to bring that to the front, and we'll leave it, no, you can tab it in. We'll tab it in right there. Give it a little bit of security. Rotate this piece after untabbing it. Rotate it up. Fold that bit. That's going to not really lock in, but it's going to sit there for now. We're going to want to, another thing we have to do. There's so many steps to this transformation. Like, this is the main reason why they're able to sell it at a Voyager price point, because it's essentially a deluxe size robot that just, that's where the budget went, is all of these bits. You want to untab that right there so it's at a bit of an angle, and then make sure everything's secure. Unfold this piece, fold that up, and that is going to fold out like that and sit right there while you rotate the foot and fold it in. Now that isn't too crazy, but now we get to do the same thing on the other side. So out, up, around. That creates essentially the shell of this shell-tacular vehicle mode. Untab, rotate, fold out, make sure it's locked, fold the foot, and fold the same section. It's going to lock together right in there, and we're going to basically complete the back. And to finish it off, you want to take this section and fold it down. So everything kind of locks into it and locks into what's around it. There we go. And you have most of the vehicle. One tiny thing now, make sure everything is locked together. But this chest bit, after making sure his actual chest is locked in, it's going to plug in to those two tiny ports on the bottom of his feet, just to give this odd vehicle a flat base to lie on. And after that kind of what the heck am I doing transformation, you have Origin Wheeljack's vehicle mode. This certainly is a thing. Like a box. I guess it's supposed to be like a space van, maybe? The only thing I know it actually does is transport Origin's Bumblebee. That's the only thing I've seen it do, and that's what this toy was designed to do, because you can open it back up, and if you had Origin's Bumblebee, you can fit him right in there if you fold in his wings a little bit. Wings, the sides of his vehicle mode. He fits right in, close him up, and that's apparently how they get around briefly. You know, I've seen the G1 cartoon on Tubi. I have yet to dive into it. My only experience is the movie. But this is kind of cool, right? It's very different to any Wheeljack vehicle mode I've ever seen. So here is Earthrise. Yeah. This guy might not be longer, but he's certainly bulked out. And Bumblebee movie. Wheeljack. I've been tempted by Pablo. Maybe one day. If you guys want to see me review Pablo to complete the series of Wheeljacks, I don't want Q. No. So, accessory-wise, what can we do? Well, we can plug the gun on top. It's fairly simple. It looks ridiculously small up there. A pew, 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 pew. Plug these onto the front of it, and he can use them in vehicle mode. That's cool. If you want, you can store them inside the shell, just like we did previously. Just right back into the same spots. And I don't know if Bumblebee would interfere in that. Maybe I'll have to get Origin's Bumblebee at some point. Who knows? Maybe they'll make more Origin. Actually, that's just what Siege was. Basically. Do we want more Siege? Maybe. You can definitely see doors or where these bits plug into the other bit, but also kind of makes them look like doors. And the crescendo on the piece of crap. It's a windshield. It tabs in. Actually does it. I don't know, but it wraps around. Yeah, it does. It tabs in to those spots right there. And that's not a bad effect of it creating a windshield in the car too. Mind you, it does completely cover this bit, which they didn't make a bit for, because that one weapon port is definitely necessary, but this is probably the best thing it does. I think the other thing is when it's straight, it's supposed to be, I don't want to say a ramp, because that would be an angle, but like a strip of plastic he can not roll over because he doesn't have wheels, so he would sit on and it would look dumb. This thing mostly looks dumb, and it does the one thing it's supposed to do all right. It's a convincing windshield. Still, the wings are really stupid. And that's about it for Wheeljack. It feels like a novelty to have Wheeljack at a Voyager price point. Like normally you see him deluxe anytime he gets a figure. But this one is like, initially it was like, where's my money going? And holding the vehicle mode in my hands, I'm like, oh yeah, the engineering. That massive folding act to get this is where your money's going. So is that worth it to you? Only you can be the judge on that one. For Cybertronian modes, while this guy is kind of annoying to transform, I think I prefer the aesthetics of the race car. It's nice to have this as like a episode 1 kind of cool piece of, hey, that's what Wheeljack looked like originally in the very first scenes. This one is probably more predominant in people's nostalgia than this one. Hey, they never did a masterpiece of this version, but they did a masterpiece Wheeljack. That means nothing probably to some people, so I don't know. I'm happy I picked one up. I don't know where he's going to go in my collection. He's definitely not going on the main table display because Earthrise Wheeljack's staying there. He's not going in the movie collection because that's Bumblebee movie Wheeljack, and I don't know. I don't know where either of these figures sit on top of each other. I might just have to make a small section for Origins and Siege. I'm not harping on Siege, really. It's like these have less detail, like they're a bit more cartoonified than Siege, so they don't really fill the exact same Cybertronian vehicle mindset or display sections. They might have to do some more. We did get the Tetrajet in Siege, but I don't know. I wouldn't mind a Tetrajet 2.0 if they could do it better and more cartoon accurate. And at this point, I also don't know if there are any other figures that could get the Origins treatment. I think at this point we're just sticking to 3. There haven't been any announcements or leaks from JT if there are more Origins, or I just haven't read them thoroughly enough. I like these kind of figures. They're a novelty, but they're still cool. They still matter. They're a singular moment in the history of Transformers, but a significant moment nonetheless. This guy might be hard to find, but I think if you can find him, he's probably worthwhile. So keep it weird,